Welcome to Action on Pain, a podcast dedicated to highlighting the significant efforts underway in Canada to address chronic pain.
By presenting perspectives from individuals who live with pain, researchers, clinicians, and other stakeholders, we explore various impacts on people's lives and the initiatives, research endeavors, and the committed professionals working to effect meaningful change.
This work is guided by Health Canada's Action Plan for Pain. Join us as we raise awareness and share stories that are shaping the future of pain management in Canada. Hello and welcome, everyone, to this vital new podcast, Action on Pain. It's fundamentally shifting the conversation to truly turning the tables on the discussion of persistent pain through the powerful lens of lived and living experiences. We are not waiting to be invited to address these topics. We're making them happen.
Hi, everyone. Further to what Jen said, we'd like to say our mission is deeply rooted in the framework that holds the immense potential for positive change throughout Canada, the Canadian Action Plan for Pain. With every guest, every topic, we'll be asking the crucial questions. Why is this important? And what are you actively doing to move the needle towards the goals of Canada's Action Plan for Pain?
Thanks, Keith. And add on to Keith, importantly, you'll be hearing from us, Jennifer, Keith, and myself, three individuals connected by our journey with pain, bringing unique perspectives from different corners of the country, united in our own commitment to progress. So as we move on, I'd like to ask a question to Jennifer. Jennifer, can you tell us how this podcast concept came to be? Can you share that?
Absolutely. Delighted to say that CPS 2024, Virginia, Keith, and I were meeting over coffee, and I brought an idea for their consideration. I suggested that we consider co-hosting a podcast together and co-creating one that is based on the Canadian Action Plan for Pain. I still remember the looks on their faces, and they were initially going, I could see them computing it, and then it was like, yes. So we have spent the equivalent of the entire year building this together, co-creating what we believe will be a powerful podcast, and everything is framed around the incredible Health Canada Action Plan, Canadian Action Plan for Pain.
Thank you. And you know what? I agree. It's that yes was right on. It's a brilliant idea.
And I would agree. It was one of those penny drop moments where it sort of took a second for my brain to sort of catch up with your idea. And then it made so much sense because of all of the work that went in to develop the Action Plan on Pain in Canada. We've all seen it. We've seen the work that was done by people with lived experience and healthcare providers and policymakers. And then to land this and to focus it on that plan and to highlight it so we can help drive that forward. It's an amazing document. And to be able to do our small part to help keep it in the forefront, Jen, I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, it was amazing.
We're better together, and I'm thrilled that we're doing this co-creation together.
So Virginia, where are we recording from today?
That's just a great question. Well, I'm excited. We are, or at least Jennifer and I are in Toronto, and Keith is joining us from BC, but we are at the 50th annual scientific meetings of the Canadian Pain Society. So we are 1 year from when we first got together and rolling out our first podcast here live in Toronto at the Canadian Pain Society's meetings.
Can I just add in, as you're saying that, Virginia, I have goosebumps. I'm excited. I just think it couldn't have been better timing in the sense of being able to do our first recording from not just venue, but this particular event. And I'm actually sitting within the registrar's office space. No one is here this weekend. Virginia found this space, and here we are. So U of T registrar's office, well done. Thank you.
And Keith, share with our audience, what is significant about this day and this place and this conference?
Well, I mean, you've touched on it. I mean, the genesis of the idea was from last year's CPS. And while this isn't a CPS event, it really was the environment that sort of fostered this idea. Jen landed it after CPS last year. And then to be able to have this conversation with you guys to say to the world, hey, we're here, it's coming, it's going to be amazing. And to be able to say it, at the 50th anniversary of CPS really just sort of kind of wraps our arms around it a little bit. Because for me, last year's event where this idea was born was really a special moment where the three of us just said, yeah, this is something that's really important and we need to do it. And, to be able to be here today and say, it's happening. It was a long year worth of planning, making sure we get it right, because we weren't going to do this until we got it right. And we have been very diligent in that. And then, the buzz that's been created over the weekend. So it's a special moment to be able to say this during CPS's 50th ASM, that look out world, here we come.
I love that. And like I said, the buzz that's going. Jennifer and I have been dropping little hints and have shared with some crucial people here. And I can share is that people are excited. People are
Mhm.
excited about those small group that we've shared it with, that we're going to be moving this action plan and creating awareness. But it's beyond creating awareness. It's about connections. It's about moving it. It's getting action in Canada regarding chronic pain. There are 1 in 5 living with chronic pain. So this needs to move forward. And it's a pleasure to be here with the two of you.
Absolutely.
Questions that I've got that I've heard from a number of the folks that we've been given the heads up to is, okay, so who will you be talking to? Like, have you thought about that?
Mhm.
And it gave a chance to say, we have this incredible spreadsheet that is being built out based on the 6 goals and the multitude of recommendations in this fantastic report, and recognizing how many people within Canada and frankly outside of Canada who are contributing to that very document. And so we're looking at who can we possibly invite, and people have made suggestions. We've heard through presentations who else should we include that we may not have known about before. And top of mind are people with lived experience coming to the table and having a discussion with us around what things are they involved in that are having an impact, how do they see having an impact, and so on. And each of the individual clinicians and researchers, policymakers that we'll talk to, people who are having an impact on this incredible document.
And I think one of the things, picking up on that is, it's so exciting to hear that buzz, and how people have just launched themselves into this to want to support us. But, I take a step back a little bit to the year of the planning that we've done, not to be lost in this. This is, as far as we know, we dug as hard as we could. We believe, at least in Canada, this will be the only podcast initiated by, planned, co-developed, and then hosted by 3 people who live with pain. And I think that is really important, because there are some amazing podcasts that are on pain, but the focus is a little bit different. And we're not only centered and grounded on the action plan, but we're centered and grounded on the fact that this is about helping and supporting those who live with pain. And we're pulling in people who live with pain. We're pulling in clinicians, researchers, academics, anybody who's doing something that forwards that action plan solely for the purpose of helping those that live with pain. And I think that's really special, because, like I said, we did as much research as we could, and we couldn't find anybody else who's doing this. So I think we can probably say we're the first that will be in Canada, a pain focused podcast done by 3 people who live with pain. And that's, to me, is really exciting and important.
And I think that's brilliant, Keith, because I mean, really what it means we're seeing this through the lens of people who live with pain. This is how it's going to be evolved. And except that's really important. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we know, and you guys have seen it at CPS, there's so many people in the clinician and healthcare and the research space who are trying really hard. And this is our opportunity to help sort of them focus all of what they do on that action plan. And again, solely and specifically for people who live with pain.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great. And, and we do invite our audience and everyone to join us in this journey, raising awareness and share about this valuable podcast and everything that's going to be said. And really stay tuned to some really incredible conversations.
Absolutely. I think that's the big takeaway that I have as well is after a year of very diligent planning, amazing support from organizations and individuals, it's happening. It's the proverbial it's coming soon. So watch for this space. It's going to happen, and we look forward to doing our part, however small that is, to support and forward that amazing, incredible an action plan for pain in Canada. And it's exciting for me and an honor to be able to do it with the two of you.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Keith. It is such a pleasure to work with the two of you. I can't imagine a better team. And I'm just excited to be doing this with both of you.
Thank you.
Great.
Feel the same. This is great. Thank you. Thanks for Jen for coming up with a brilliant idea. Stay tuned, everyone.
Yep. All right, folks. Listen for this space. We're coming. It's coming soon. And we invite all of you to tune into us.
Thank you for joining us today on Action on Pain. If you enjoyed the discussion, please follow us on your preferred podcast platform to stay updated, and please share with your networks. A 5-star rating and review would help others find our show. Your feedback is important.
This podcast does not contain any medical advice. Please consult with your doctor if you have any questions or concerns.
The Action on Pain podcast is made possible by the generous support of the Chronic Pain Network, a national research and knowledge mobilization network.
The views, opinions, and content shared by hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Chronic Pain Network or its funders.